to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So today I wanted to kind of do like a little update video because basically I filmed this before about letting go and surrendering, but I've realized over the time since I last filmed that video, I have freaking learned the real meaning of letting go and surrendering. So I want to do this video because it's going to help so many of you, because it's definitely helped me, and give you some updated tips and tools on how to let go and surrender. So I always say in my work that there are 5 steps to the law of attraction. 3, I wish. There is 5. So it is asking, first of all. So setting your intention and asking the universe for your desire. Simply asking. That's all that is. Just saying, yo universe, this is what I want to manifest, please. Thank you. Simple as that. So your second step is believing. So believing that you can obviously have your manifestation come into fruition, and believing that the universe can bring it to you and that it is possible. Third is let it go. So this is one step which so many of us miss, and hands up, I miss it too. Like, I'm terrible with letting go because I'm always like clinging on to the steering wheel of life and clinging on for control and being like an absolute control freak. That is in my nature. I'm a Virgo and I am a control freak, and I have really had to deal with that recently. So number 3 is letting it go. Like, you have to let the manifestation go, and this is what I'm going to cover today. I'm going to cover it in a bit, but yeah, the third step is letting it go. Step 4 is trusting. So with your trust, you're spiritually surrendering. So trusting, I guess you could say, like, is trust the same as believing? Yeah, I guess in some aspects it could be, but it's also about spiritually surrendering, and that's why I think trust is more spiritual surrender rather than trusting that it's going to come to you. You do trust that it's going to come to you, and you trust the universe that it has your best interest, but that comes through spiritual surrender. And finally, 5 is your receive. 5 is your receive. So I say it's a 5-step manifestation process, and I know a lot of you agree with that because so many people miss out the vital steps of letting it go. And if you're anything like me and you're a control freak, then darling, you need to do this. So the way I learned letting go and spiritual control, I've spoken about this on my blog. So if you want to go and find that blog post, it is called Why I'm Giving Up on Manifesting My Desires. I will link it down below as well for you. So I don't really want to discuss that because I'm all about talking positively now, and I'm all about, like, you know, just talking positively and talking what I want to come into existence. So yeah, if you want to know the backstory behind that, there it is. But the example I want to give you today is my book deal, because I feel the book deal is actually tailorable to everybody's situations, and I've tailored it to like other situations in my life and thought, hang on a minute, this is all the same thing. So for instance, I've been very vocal on this channel about wanting to manifest a book deal with Hay House. I have been yabbering on about that for years. And the reason why I wanted to write a book isn't for, well, when I started, it wasn't for the fame, it wasn't for the money, it wasn't for anything. It was something I've just always wanted to do and something I've always felt called to do, and simply just sharing my message on a different platform. Obviously I have all these incredible platforms, but to be able to have a physical book, because I love books myself, I'm such a bookworm, so I think that's why I'm passionate about it, because I love to pick up a book and change my life, and that's what I want my message to do, is help people change their lives, give them hope, give them inspiration, and to give them real techniques and tools which can obviously help them. So that was why I wanted to do it, and I set the intention and a few tests came up. So I was invited to Penguin Publishing last year to interview Miek Wicking, who was the author of A Little Book of Hygge. And it was an incredible experience to meet him, talk to him, ask him some great questions about being an author, and also to speak to Penguin Publishing as well. And I don't know, I've always had 2 publishers in my head. I've always had Penguin or Hay House. Like, if you'd have asked me as a child, like, what book publishers are there ever, I would have said the one with the Penguin and the one with the House. Like, they're the only 2 I grew up with, weirdly enough, and had in my mind that that was a book publisher. So I went to Penguin and I thought, this is like an opportunity. So I seized it. I was with my manager that day and we were just like, how do we pitch my book to you? Like, we just came out there like, hi. And, you know, the woman was like a little bit shocked, I think. She was like, God, you've got balls, woman. And she was like, you know, you need to go through a literary agent and blah, 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 blah. And I had looked at a literary agent before, but the literary agent that approached me literally said, well, they didn't say my book was shit, but they were literally like, it's not for us. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And spirituality is such a niche subject. Like, of course it's going to be difficult to get it in front of the right people. So I didn't get disheartened with this. I didn't lose hope. I continued writing the book, continued writing my sample chapters, and just did it. So I've missed a bit out. I wasn't writing at that point. Can I just say the book was definitely not written at that point. That was last summer. So when I went to Santorini last year, I was reading Rebecca Campbell's work. No, not Work Your Light. That's her new Oracle card deck. Oh God, light is the new black. That is what I'm trying to say. And it just helped me find my purpose and really helped me to write that book. So I felt so inspired, and on that holiday I wrote 3 chapters, which was super, super awesome, and it was a great start to that manifestation, taking inspired action. So once I came back from that holiday, again, there wasn't really like any interest, or I didn't know. I always felt in my heart that I wasn't going to have a literary agent. I always felt I don't need that, and Rachel, my psychic, had also said no, don't go with that literary agent who approached you. They're bad news. You can do this yourself. You're not going to need an agent. So that reassured me, because that kind of backs up what I felt within myself. And I suppose I'm just actually doing a whole video on how I manifested this, but that video is going to come at some point. So I don't want to say too much, because obviously this is literally what I'm going to say in that video. But basically, to summarize, the opportunity wasn't there. So basically I then went on the Hay House website and saw they did a writer's course in Bristol, which is quite close to me. So I booked my ticket and did that, not only to have the opportunity to pitch to them, but secondly to obviously learn some great tools and techniques of how to be an author, how to submit a proposal, how to create a proposal. And that information in that course was absolutely incredible. It was worth every single penny I paid, and it was so, so, so good. They are so attentive, so helpful, the Hay House team, and the information they give you is just something you would never find anywhere else. So even if you just want to go to that course and pitch to someone else, it's really, really incredible to have a publisher who shares that much information with you and actually shares the industry. Because for me, it actually taught me a lot about the process, the industry, how it all works, the behind the scenes, what you actually get paid for a book and stuff like that. Is really good information. So even if it wasn't going to happen, that course was just so valuable to me. So we then pitched our proposals after that. So I then had to write another 2 chapters, but I wrote about another 4, I think, because I'm about 80% of the way through now, which is super exciting. So yeah, I wrote another 4, but only submitted 5 sample chapters, because that's what they asked for. Or was it 3? Can't remember now, it was 3 or 5. And yeah, I left it to the gods. So I was like, right, it's in your hands now. And I knew I wouldn't win the competition. I knew I wouldn't. I always had, because I think everyone expected me to. Everybody who I met at the course literally expected me to win it because of my followers. And I was like, that's not a reason to win a book deal. Just because you have followers, I want them to pick me because my message and my book is worthy and is gonna help so many people, not because of the amount of followers I have. That's not really a nice validation of your work. That's just saying hey, you can sell books or what have you. So I knew I wasn't going to win. I always sensed that I would get something offered off the back. That's always how I felt it and saw it. And Rachel again confirmed that for me. But yeah, anyway, to cut a long story short, I'm totally going off topic here. I'm meant to be talking about letting go. So the night before the winner was drawn, that week before, my ego went into full-blown ego drive of, you need that book to be validated. If you don't get a book, you've failed in life. Think of the money, think of the fame, think of this. And I thought, fucking hell, where's this come from? From the person who just wanted to write a book to help people, it's now turned into a big ego drive of fame and success and validation. And I really had to look at myself and be like, shit, you've got a bit into your ego, Emma. And it was a good realization to have, because sometimes when we do these things, we do end up in ego. And I realized actually the power of the miracle came from realizing how far I'd come in those 6 months. So the reason why I'm telling you this story is to show you how far I came through wanting it through ego. So basically I looked and I gave up on it. I was like, right, it doesn't matter who the publisher is. wanting Hay House was an egotistical thing. Yes, it would have been nice, but it was also ego, feeling like I had to be part of Hay House to be successful, or, you know, it didn't matter who published that book. That book would find the people that needed it, and it would be published in the perfect timing when it was right to be published. And none of that was in my control, who the publisher was or when it was published. And I was just gripping onto control again, like, like this must happen, this must happen. And I didn't need to, like, I didn't need to worry about any of this. All I had to worry about was that that book was written from love, and I hadn't written in 6 months. I actually hadn't written since I submitted the proposal to Hay House, and that made me sad because I was like, oh my god, like I haven't even written anything. Like I should just be focused on the writing, like nothing else, just focusing on the writing. So yeah, the night before I did a massive letting go process. So what I do when I want to let go of things, and I think it's super important to do this, is to do a little ritual. So when you feel like you've just got to let it go, like if it's stressing you out, worrying you, giving you anxiety, that is because you are controlling it. And I think I let go of things, but believe me, I do not. I still grip on, even with the tiniest bit, I still grip on. So I had to release the desire to have the publisher's Hay House and the need for a book deal. I had to release all of that. So I literally wrote this all on a bit of paper, wrote it all out, everything I wanted, every expectation I had, wrote it all out, and I burnt it. And that was so liberating. And then I just said a little like affirmation just to say, you know, like, universe, I trust you, I trust that you've got me, I trust and I know that this book will be published, I feel it in my soul, but you know best, you know how to make it happen. And I was pulling angel cards that said, you know, there's something better, and I was like, I totally trust that. Like, I know that that book will be published, and I knew that with every ounce of my being. There was definitely no doubt with that, but it didn't matter who it was with. It didn't matter who it was with. So I released control. I just said, like, I trust you, universe. I know you've got this. And Gabrielle Bernstein has a really powerful meditation with her book, The Universe Has Your Back. And it's all about placing your desire in a golden basket and an angel flying off with it. It's a really nice meditation. And this really helped me. I did that. I did a Brad Yates letting go tapping video as well. I did all the letting go things I could do. And I just had to realize the actual miracle wasn't the book deal. The miracle wasn't Hay House giving me a book deal. The miracle was how far I'd come. So in that 6-month journey, I'd started a podcast. I'd had 2 double-page articles in Soul and Spirit magazine, one of the biggest spiritual magazines in the UK. I'd been on the front cover of Soul and Spirit magazine. I had started all my merchandise, launched all my merchandise. I'd spoken at 2 events. I'd done so much, like so freaking much. And although all of that mostly was to impress Hay House, and I pushed myself to impress them, so yeah, it did start from ego, but actually it turned into a beautiful thing because I now have an incredible podcast that helps so many people. I have merchandise, which I love creating and love sending to you guys, and you guys love equally. I have such proud achievements in Soul and Spirit magazine, and connected greatly with them and got some really good contacts there. And, you know, they love my work and you guys read it, and, you know, new people have found me through that, which is the super, super blessing because it means my work will help even more people. So my journey wasn't the book deal. My journey was how far I'd come and grown and spiritually evolved. And in those 6 months, the universe had sent me on like a massive learning spree, like learning everything. So I myself had transformed massively. And, you know, a lot of people have like commented that about some things I talk about is so much more advanced now. And it's because I've just been advanced massively spiritually, and like I feel like I've downloaded a whole another 80 years of knowledge in my head. So that was the miracle. The miracle was not the book deal. I knew I wasn't going to win it, so there was no expectation there, but the miracle was actually how far I'd come and the blessings and the journey, essentially. So I totally surrendered in that moment because I realized that actually it didn't even matter if that book happened. Like, I knew it would happen and I had hope it would happen, but, you know, I could self-publish that book if I really wanted to. If I got to a stage where it didn't happen, I could self-publish that book. That is always an option. There was always an option of how to get that book to people. And I was just holding on to the ego. I was holding on to the resistance, and I was holding on to the control. And as soon as I let that go, and you know, the next day the winner was announced, and it wasn't me, surprisingly, like I knew that. And you know, the woman who won was absolutely inspiring. Like, she seemed so deserving, and it just seemed really, really fitting. And I'm so glad they picked someone like that, because it was just so perfect, and her story is going to inspire so many people when it comes out. So I knew the right person had won. And also what I looked at it was, you know, I'm super blessed to have the following that I do, and having that following means that I would be able to pitch to publishers. Like, some people who don't have any following, or you know, are starting out, they wouldn't have that opportunity normally, or they wouldn't be looked at normally. So for them to have an opportunity to be put in front of Hay House is a miracle. That is a really good thing that they do. So I didn't need that opportunity. I was there to learn, and I was there to connect with Hay House, and I was there to go on my own journey. What then happened is I started writing crazily. Like, the words were flowing when I returned to love, and I totally surrendered and wanted to document what I'd learned and my experiences, and wrote from an absolute place of love and realigned myself. Holy fuck, that book is good. Like, I'm not just saying that because obviously I channel a lot. Like, I'm not saying it's like, well, it is my words, but do you know what I mean? I've got spiritual help here. Like, so yes, I know it's my work, but equally it's like what I've learned and what I've downloaded and what I've channeled. And that book is so written with love. Like, it inspires me writing it, it inspires me reading it. And, you know, the people who have proofread it and, you know, helped me, like, even they say like, wow, like, this is good. And I'm so proud of that, because through going through that letting go and surrendering, I now have, like, you know, content and a book which is going to help so many people, and something I'm truly proud of, like truly proud of to put my name to. So I'm so happy that happened, and I knew that that had to happen to return me to love, take me out of ego, take me out of all the egotistical reasons why I wanted that book deal, and return me to love. So at that point, I wasn't even worried. I actually messaged my agent because a publisher had got in contact with her, and I'd put it off obviously until I heard from Hay House. And I messaged her and said, you know, the winner's been announced, it's not me unfortunately, so let's go ahead with this other one. And I literally sent her a whole list of publishers which we were going to pitch to. So I truly let go. I opened myself up to other options, and I truly let go. And I said, right, other publishers, this is the list, let's get cracking on. So she didn't actually start doing anything to start off with, but she was like, yeah, totally get this, like, you know, get your new chapters across to me. Because basically after the winner had been announced, I'd re-edited a lot of the chapters and changed a lot of stuff, because more stuff had like come to me and channeled to me. So again, that was a blessing as well, that I had the opportunity to change things, edit and update them, because now I channeled everything and it feels so good. Like, the chapters feel good, they're so freaking good, and I just cannot wait for you guys to read this at all. I'm so excited, like, because when I read it I'm like, yes. So yeah, I was basically waiting a couple of weeks before I sent it over to my manager, so then she could set up these meetings. And basically we agreed that she was going to be my literary agent, because I was like, there ain't much different, like, you know, let's just do it ourselves. You're my agent, let's just do it ourselves. So we set out that task, and that's what we're going to do. And my agent does law of attraction as well, so I'm super glad she found it through me, and I was like, yes. So she knows more than anything. And what then happened was, by me stepping out of the freaking way of the universe, something incredible happened, and exactly how I thought it would. So I don't know what I can and can't say, so I'm just gonna leave that there, and one day you're gonna have a how I manifested my book deal video, definitely. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you is the power of letting go. So whether it's with a person, whether it's with a book deal, whether it's with a job, a house, whatever, letting go is absolutely freaking vital. And letting go for me means absolutely 100% surrendering the thing I thought I needed. And Gabrielle Bernstein's book has just been so good for this. The Universe Has Your Back is transforming fear into faith, and that book itself helped me so much to gain these tools and techniques to be able to let go, to be able to just accept what will be, and know in my core that that book was going to happen, but it didn't matter how, who, or where. The universe had all of that planned. You know, I didn't need to worry about that, stress about that, concern myself with that. All I needed to do was write that book from love. That's all the universe asked me to do. That's all it said. It said, hold on, we've got this sorted. We know who the best publisher for you is. Chill, woman, chill. So I strongly, strongly, strongly advise that you need to let go of what you think you need. And I've had so many examples of this in my life, so many examples where I cling on to the outcome, where I think that, you know, by clinging on to the outcome, you know, that's just positive thinking and then we're going to get there eventually. But I tell you what, all of my big manifestations have happened when I give up. And I know that people are going to argue that, say, but giving up's then saying you don't want it to the universe, but it's actually not. It's actually saying, do you know what? I've carried this long enough. I've stressed about this. Like, you guys take it from here. Like, I'm done. And that's what I did. And that's what I've done for a lot of things in my life recently. And through doing that, you return to, oh my God, the most freaking aligned, peaceful place ever. As soon as I let go, I'm like, oh my God, that feels better. So by letting go, you're actually just helping yourself. You're actually giving yourself a more peaceful mind, a more peaceful attitude, and a peaceful life, essentially. Letting go is so, so, so important. And like I said, in those little exercises I do, just do a ritual. And sometimes you're going to need to do it more than once. I've done it for some things like 5 or 6 times. Like, sometimes you just need to freaking keep doing it until you believe it and until you actually release it. And it's not about forgetting what you think you need. It's not about saying, you know, actually I don't want that anymore. It's actually just releasing it. So it's saying, you know, this is what I think I need, universe. I'm going to send that to you. You know what I want. You've heard me a million times. So now I'm opening myself up. I'm opening myself up to the world of all the possibilities, of everything. You hold that hope. So, you know, like with the book deal, I knew that book deal was going to get, you know, I knew it was going to happen with somebody. Like, it didn't matter who it was going to be somebody, and it didn't matter when it happened, it was going to happen. So, you know, tailor that to your situation. If that's a person, if that's, you know, a dream man, a husband, if that's a, God knows, like a house, a career, whatever it is, whatever you're clinging on to, you're only hurting yourself by clinging on to it. You're keeping it away from you. And oh my God, like, I can't even tell you how quickly it happened. Like, after I just freaking let go and actually returned to love, I remembered why I wanted to write that book. So go back to the core meaning, like, you know, if it's a relationship, if it's a house, if it's a career, go back to the core reason of why you wanted that. Like, take yourself out of ego, because most likely you have gone into ego, and realize why you wanted that thing in the first place, because there will be a reason, there will be a core reason, and that's where you need to find your faith. That's where you need to find your love again, and that's where you'll find your passion again for life, for joy. Like, you'll just think, oh my God, I can have fun now, I can be happy and be joyful, like not even worry about this. So let go of what you think you need, because that is the key. And don't worry that the universe won't hear you clearly. Don't worry that the universe is now going to take that thing away from you and replace it with something else. Like, trust, because it doesn't matter who it is, how it happens, where it is, whatever. It will happen in the best way possible for the highest good of everybody involved. So that's your letting go. Now, spiritually surrendering, I'm just going to quickly cover it, is very, very similar. It's again walking away from it. So just saying, I'm done. And I feel that's the strongest thing. One, because I am so freaking a control freak. Like, I need to physically like walk away, because that helps me actually let it go fully. So yeah, walk away from it. Just be like, I trust you've got this in hand. And like, you know, like my book, I continued writing it, not with a goal, not with a publisher in mind, not even with the intention of it being published, just writing it for me, writing it for love, writing it for you guys. So find your core purpose of why you want to do that thing or have that thing, and act on that. So if it's love, if you want to manifest love and you're like giving up on it or whatever, it's just not happening, like, love yourself more, become love, like become the thing you want to attract. Love yourself, commit to yourself, date yourself, love yourself wholeheartedly. Like, don't worry about anybody else, just love you unconditionally and get back into your joyful state, because that raises your vibration, and believe me, that manifests everything so much quicker. And that is how I manifest so much stuff, by giving up. I'm just like in such a good state and joyful state that I'm just like, oh, don't really need it anyway, and then it happens. I've told you about this so many times of how everything happens when I actually don't need it, and that's when the law of attraction is at its best, because you totally surrender. And yeah, sometimes you just have to let go of what you think it is you want. So, you know, just like the hay house thing, it could be anything. It could be a baby, it could be a husband, it could be anything. Like, let it go. You know it's gonna happen. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter when. Leave that to the universe. That is the universe's job, not yours. So I hope this video has helped you guys to help you even further let go and surrender. So just keep walking, keep surrendering, and as Gabby says, when you think you surrendered, surrender some more. Like, there is never too much surrendering you can do. Like, focus on yourself, focus on your self-love, focus on everything that you can do within your power, and take back your power as well. Raise your standards and know that no matter what, the universe has your back. I feel like I've just literally quoted Gabby Bernstein. Literally, I've just become Gabby. But she's such a good person. So thank you guys for watching my video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all, and I will see you in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love, guys.